Hola, muy buenos días. ¿Cómo estás? Estamos en semana número 3 y eso es el módulo número 1. En este módulo hablamos de la hora y los números. Empecemos. Repite, por favor. 30, 30, 40, 40, 50, 50, 60, 60, 70, 70, 80, 80, 90, 90, 100, 100. Now you may recall con los 20, it started out like this and we would say 21. And then to make it to the next one, we'd say 22. And we just combine them that way with the little letter I. But with all the others, from 30 hasta 90, 100 y más allá, we just use this little word I to combine them, and it makes it very simple. So how would you say 51? You would say 50 y uno. How would you say 71? 70 y uno, etc. So the numbers are quite easy and logical in that way. Something I'd call your attention to is the differences in the pronunciation between 60 y 70, because they're quite close. Repite, 60, 70. Do you hear the difference? Bien. Ahora, just to highlight some of the finer points. As I mentioned, the word y is used in los números desde 31 hasta 99 y más allá. And what does this little word y mean? Y means and, right? So we use it con los números to construct them. Do you remember how to say there is and there are? I bet you do. It's hay. So, ¿cómo se dice en español? There are 85 exams. Hay 85 exámenes. ¿Cómo se dice en español? There are 42 students. Hay 42 estudiantes. You see where the little word y just gets thrown in to make that new number. With numbers that end in 1, such as 31, 41, hey, we're on a roll, let's just keep going. 51, 61, 71, 81, 91, 101. Uno becomes un if you have a noun that's masculino and una before feminine noun. Let's look at some examples. There are 31 dudes, so you'd say, hay 31 chicos. Because the word chicos is here, this is un. There are 31 girls, hay 31 chicas. Now, just as a supposition, you're out in the Spanish-speaking world, and it's very important that you communicate. There are 31 guys over there, and you say, hay 31 chicos. What's going to happen? Nothing. Your communication would still be effective. You would still be understood. This is just some of the finer points to point out to you. 100 is used before nouns and in counting, but we don't use those little words, un and una and uno, with 100. It actually just makes it easier. Do you remember how to make a question in Spanish? You make a statement, and then you just raise your voice at the end. Do you remember some of your question words? We have who, what, when, where, why. How many, how much. What is who? ¿Quién? What? ¿Qué? O cómo. When? ¿Cuándo? Where? ¿Dónde? Why? ¿Por qué? Right? If you don't know, we'll be getting to some of them soon. How many and how much we have seen, and it's cuántos. Cuántos. So how many books are there? ¿Cuántos libros hay? ¿Cuántos libros hay? Una pregunta. We're going to say there are 100 books. Hay 100 libros. You see how we don't need the un or the uno or the uno? It's just 100. Hay 100 libros. So how many chairs are there? ¿Cómo se dice en español? We're going to use this same word here, Pero, ¿cómo se dice chairs en español? Son las sillas. Entonces, no se dice cuántos, se dice cuántas. ¿Cuántas sillas hay? Femenino, femenino. ¿Cuántas sillas hay? There are 100 chairs. Hay 100 sillas. Once again, you just don't need any of these little ones over there. It's just hay 100 sillas. Bien, vamos a practicar un poquito. Entonces, di los números en español conmigo. ¿Cómo se dice en español? 83. ¿Cómo se dice en español? 49. 65. 36. Aquí, 71. 22. Remember that one isn't joined with the E, but rather with the little I, right? It joins them. So 22. Sounds the same though. 54. 96. Bien, ahora up here, we're going to answer some of these questions in contexto. Remember that you're kind of like a little parrot, so that when you hear a question, you're going to use what you have in the sentence to answer the question itself. So, si yo pregunto, ¿cuántos profesores de ciencias hay en la universidad? Contestas, hay 65 profesores de ciencias en la universidad. Bien, pregunta número 2. ¿Cuántos estudiantes hay en la clase? Hay 35 estudiantes en la clase. Es fácil, ¿verdad? ¿Cuántos libros necesitas para todas las clases? Now, here's a little curveball. We don't have that word hay, but because of your cognados, you can guess what necesitas means. Do you need? So I'm going to help you start out by answering necesito. Now, who remembers how to say this number in español? Don't want you to forget. 15. If you got it, give yourself a pat on the back. Necesito 15 libros para todas las clases. Note how when you're answering a question, you do not use the question word to answer the question. Same in inglés. ¿Cuántas chicas practican deportes en el gimnasio? Now I'm wagering you can understand the question because of a little help from our cognados and then from this little annotation. How many girls practice sports in the gym? Bien, vamos a contestar. 95 chicas practican deportes en el gimnasio. ¿Y chicos? ¿Cuántos chicos practican deportes en el gimnasio? So we're going to work with 100. But when 100 is followed by more números, it becomes ciento. So 178 chicos practican deportes en el gimnasio. As such, 178 chicos practican deportes en el gimnasio. ¿Cuántos días de clase hay en un semestre? Whoops, that's not what I meant to do. Perdona. Aquí. Hay 41 días de clase en un semestre. Bien, ¿cuántos exámenes hay en un semestre? Hay 56 exámenes en un semestre. ¡La la! Son muchos exámenes, ¿sí? Muchos exámenes en un semestre. Bien, vamos a hablar de la hora. Normalmente, yo, la profesora, explico la hora con una pizarra y un rotulador o un marcador. Pero como es una clase virtual, explico la hora así. I hope this will be helpful. Please take notes. Toma apuntes. Y si tienes preguntas, más tarde me escribes un email con las preguntas. Entonces, la hora. ¿Qué significa la hora? La hora significa the hour or simply time. ¿Cómo se dice weather? El tiempo. Bien? So there's two questions to keep in mind. ¿Qué hora es? Y ¿a qué hora es? They're different questions. ¿Qué hora es? Is simply, what time is it? ¿Qué hora es? And you look at your watch and you say what time it is. Tu reloj. ¿A qué hora es? Is at what time is something. Like what time is the show? What time is class? What time is the game? For this one, if you wanted to know, you would ask the second question. So we start out by telling time, and we're going to use the verb ser. Now, if you think about the verb ser, you probably remember how to conjugate it. It's like this. Let's start out. Soy, eres, es, somos, sois, son. But to use this for the verb ser, what we're going to do is we're going to use just these two. This one and this one. Those are the only two that are relevant to telling time. I'll explain. Let's say that we're starting with 1 o'clock. You want to say it's 1 o'clock. It is 1 o'clock. It, right? So it, which form of the verb ser did you choose? Es. So you would say, es la una. Es la una. It's 1 o'clock. Now we use it's, es, because it's singular. But think about it. If you say it's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, or whatever, all of these are plural hours. So these are not like an it, really. They're like a they. So which form of the verb ser corresponds to they? It's son. So for all of the other hours, we say son. Son las dos, son las tres, son las nueve, son las 10, son las 11, whatever. If it's on the dot, we would say en punto. Entonces, son las dos en punto, son las tres en punto, or if it's 1 o'clock on the dot, es la una en punto. Now I want you to think of the clock like two sides, to envision it that way. This side is going to be y, meaning when the minute hand is on this side of the clock, we're going to use this word y. And when the minute hand is on this side of the clock, we're going to use the word menos. You might remember the word menos from doing math together. So, y cinco. I'm going to draw a little thing. So let's say that it is this time. Would you use es or son? Well, 3 o'clock is plural, so you would say son las tres y cinco. What if it were 1:05? Es la una y cinco. 9:05, son las 9:05. Moving on, as your minute hand moves around the clock, you use this word y and just add the números. So this would be y 10. What about this one? Y 15. You could also say y cuarto. Piénsalo. En inglés también tenemos, por ejemplo, 3:15. But we also can say it's 3:15. So son las 3:15 o son las 3:15. It doesn't matter. Luego, the minute hand here, y 20, aquí, y, oops, I forgot 25. Profesora, muy mal. All right, so this would be y 25. And then this one here would be y 30. Now think, if it's 10:30, you could say it's 10:30, but you could also say it's 10:30. So this word here, y media, is 10:30. It doesn't matter, y 30 o y media. Let's practice a little bit with this side of the clock. So we are going to say, it is 1:15. So we'd say, es or son, which one? Es, because one is singular. So es la una y cuarto. O Es la 1:15. What if it were like this? Son las 10:05. Bien. Aquí y aquí. Es or son. Well, 7 o'clock is the hour, that's plural, so son las 7:20. What about here, my beautiful hands? ¿Qué hora es? Son las 9:25. Y aquí son las 2:30 o son las 2:30. Now here's where things get really fun. We're going to go over here to this side of the clock, and on this side of the clock we start to use the word menos. Why do we do that? Well, you start subtracting from the next hour. It's a different way of thinking. First, let's look at the words we need, and then we'll see some examples. So, we would say, if the minute hand were here, menos 25. What if the minute hand were here? Menos 20. Si la manecilla del minuto está aquí, menos 15 o menos cuarto. Si la manecilla está aquí, menos 10. Si la manecilla está aquí, menos 5. Let's look at some examples to go with this. So, I don't know. Here we are. So, would you use es or son to start out? Son, because 11 is plural. So, son las 11. No, here's where the problem starts. Well, it's not a problem. It's not a problem at all. It's just a matter of thinking about it a little bit differently. So, it's 11:35, but really that's like 12 minus 25. Do you see what I mean? The next hour is going to be 12. So you have to subtract the minutes from that. So here you would say, son las 12 menos 25. Let's look at another example. I need to move that hour hand a little bit. Here we go. So, what would you say? Well, it's 2:40, but that's kind of like 3 minus 20, because 3 is going to be the next hour. And so you'd say, son las 3 menos 20. Otro ejemplo. How about here? It's 4:50, but it's actually like 5 minus 10. Son las 5 menos 10. Let's do one more example. Here, it's 1:45. The next hour is 2. Since our minute hand is on this side of the clock, we're going to use this word menos and subtract from the next hour. So what's the next hour coming up? Well, it's 2. So, son las 2 menos cuarto. I lied, we're going to do one more little example because it'll be really fun. So, here we go. Now it's 12:55. It's almost 1 o'clock. So, now the question is, would you use es or son? Because you're going to say it's 1 minus 5. So you would use es. Es la 1 menos 5. ¿Sí o no? I hope you're following along well with this. Let's take a look. How would you say it's noon? Well, there's a couple ways you could say it. You could say son las 12 and then add a qualifier like de la tarde. What are our 3 qualifiers? How would you say in the morning? De la mañana, in the afternoon, de la tarde, and at night, de la noche. So you could say, for it's noon, you could say son las 12 de la tarde. But you could also say this, es mediodía. For midnight, similarly, you could say son las 12 de la noche. But you could also say, es medianoche. Now, if you think about it, where does this come from? And this? Well, look over here. When we say it's 30 minutes past the hour, we say y media or y 30. Y media means half past. So mediodía is literally half day. Medianoche, half night. Noon, midnight. Bien? Espero que sí. Now let's take a look at some slides that are going to show us the whole recap, just in a different way, different format. If that was a lot of information, hopefully this will, you'll at some point go, aha, I got that detail. And if not, you're writing down your question. So we use numbers, obviously, and we also use the verb ser to tell time. Ser is conjugated soy, eres, es, somos, sois, y son, but to tell time, we only use es y son. Es for the singular hour, such as es la una, y son for all the other hours, because they are plural. Son las dos, son las tres, son las cuatro. To ask what time it is, you say, ¿Qué hora es? So to express the time from the hour to the half hour, we use the little word y. Please note that the minute hand in these two examples is on the right side of the clock if you're looking at it facing that way. And so you say y whatever. And then some extra words to know. If it's quarter past, y 15 o y cuarto. If it's 30 minutes past, y 30 o y media. Your choice. Once the minute hand gets on the left side of the clock, to think of it that way, you start subtracting from the upcoming hour or the next hour. So we use menos and you just subtract a portion of the hour. Son las 2 menos cuarto. Aquí son las 9 menos 10. Bien? So here are some useful expressions related to telling time. So, ¿qué hora es? What time is it? ¿Cómo se dice? It's 9 o'clock in the morning. Es or son? Son las 9 de la mañana. Now, this brings up an interesting point that I'd like to add. ¿Cómo se dice en español tomorrow? You remember, see you tomorrow. You say, hasta mañana. So this word mañana means tomorrow. But here we're seeing it as son las 9 de la mañana. So it means in the morning. So ¿cuál es la diferencia entre tomorrow y morning? Pues nada, it's in contexto. You just have to know. ¿Cómo se dice en español tomorrow morning? All right, that's the question. You would say mañana por la mañana. Repite. Mañana por la mañana. Mañana por la mañana. That's tomorrow morning. Bien, mira aquí. Son las 4 de la tarde. It's 4 in the afternoon. En punto. How we say it's noon? You could say son las 12 de la tarde o es mediodía. Son las 10 de la noche en punto. ¿Cómo se dice? It's midnight. You could say son las 12 de la noche o es medianoche. Es la medianoche también. Bien, yo digo es medianoche. Okay. To ask or state at what time a particular event takes place. All right, now here's the difference. If you were to ask, ¿qué hora es? The person goes, y miran su reloj y dicen, son las 2 o es la 1 o son las 12. But if you're to ask it what time something starts, it's just a different question, right? ¿A qué hora es la clase? You always start out with the thing, so in this case, la clase, and then the little word is, es, and then we have a las. So, la clase es a las 2. Now we're going to see some more examples, so don't panic if you can't form it yet. Here we have an example. La clase es a la 1. How will we say the class is at 8 o'clock on the dot? La clase es a las 8 en punto. Bien? Vamos a ver más ejemplos. Another recap. We're having a mucha lucha. ¿Qué hora es versus ¿A qué hora es? It's different. ¿Qué hora es? Ah, miras tu reloj y dices, es la 1, son las 2, son las 3, son las 4. Pero, ¿a qué hora es tu clase de español? You would answer, mi clase de español es a las 2, es a las 3, es a las 4. ¿A qué hora hay una fiesta? Hay una fiesta a las 10 de la noche o hay una fiesta a las 11 de la noche. Bien, let's practice some. ¿Qué hora es? Now, if you're a general kind of person, you just say, son las 12. But if you want a little bit of precision, you could say, it is 12 minus 2. Son las 12 menos 2. Bien, ¿qué hora es? Son las 7:15. Or son las 7:15. ¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es? Son las 4 en punto. ¿Qué hora es? Now, lots of us would just say, son las 3, right? But if you want some precisión, tú puedes decir, son las 3 menos un minuto. Bien? Now let's take a look at the difference between going, ¿qué hora es? Y ¿a qué hora? In context here. So, ¿a qué hora es la clase de español? So we're going to say Spanish class is at 4 o'clock on the dot. Start with, la clase de español es a las 4 en punto. Bien. ¿Qué hora es? Would you start with es or son? Well, the minute hand is on the right side of the clock. 12 is plural, so son. Son las 12:08. ¿Qué hora es? Son las 8:22. ¿A qué hora es el programa de televisión? Let's say it starts at 9. El programa de televisión es a las 9 en punto. ¿Qué hora es? Would you use es or would you use son? Well, the hour is plural, so you would use son. Would you use y or would you use menos? You would use menos because the minute hand is on the left side of the clock. Son las 8 menos 11. Now, could you say, son las 7:49? You could. I noticed in mosaicos they mention this. Your book. You could say that. More frequently, people say son las 8 menos 11. But sure, some places do say son las 7:49. So both would be accepted, but you need to know how to do the menos thing. Otherwise, you might not have much luck finding out about times in Spanish-speaking countries. Aquí, ¿qué hora es? Son las 3:28. ¿Qué hora es? Son las 6 menos 6. Y 9 segundos. Aquí, ¿qué hora es? Would you use es or son? 8 is plural. You would use son. Would you use y or menos? You would use y because the minute hand is on the right hand side. So son las 8:01. ¿A qué hora es el programa de televisión? The program starts at 8. El programa de televisión, la oficina, es a las 8 en punto. Aquí, ¿qué hora es? Would you use es or would you use son? Would you use y or would you use menos? Well, it's going to be 1 o'clock. So you're going to say it's 1 minus 3, because of course the minute hand's on the left side of the clock. So es la 1 menos 3 de la tarde. Aquí, ¿qué hora es? Son las 6 menos 14 de la tarde. What about here? Hay un concierto de música. ¿A qué hora es el concierto de música? Let's say the concert starts at 6. El concierto es a las 6 de la tarde, en punto. Aquí, ¿qué hora es? Son las 10:13 de la mañana. ¿Qué día es hoy? Hoy es viernes. ¿Qué hora es? Son las 10:10. Aquí, ¿qué hora es? Once again, you have your minute hand on the left side of the clock, so we're going to use menos. The hour is not 1 o'clock, so it's going to be son. So son las 5 menos 20. Son las 5 menos 20. Aquí, ¿qué hora es? Pues son las 7 menos 1. If you gotta have that precision, I'd probably just say son las 7. Otra pregunta. ¿Cuál es la fecha? Es el 29 de junio. ¿Qué día es hoy? Hoy es el lunes. ¿Qué música? Bien, pregunto. ¿A qué hora es el programa? Let's imagine that it starts at 7 o'clock. El programa es a las 7 en punto. Bien, ¿qué hora es? Son las 6 menos 25. If you got that one right, I think you're rolling. Pregunto, ¿cuál es la fecha? La fecha es el 24 de noviembre. ¿Qué día es hoy? Hoy es domingo. ¿Qué día es mañana? Mañana es el lunes. ¿Qué tiempo hace? 26 grados Celsius. Uf, hace calor, hace mucho sol. Es posible, hace buen tiempo. Y aquí, ¿qué hora es? Pues son las 12. But you might need some precision in your life, so son las 12 menos 3. Just as a recap, how would you say it's noon? Es mediodía. It's midnight. It's medianoche. Now I have some questions for you. By now, you could answer these somewhat with ease. So let's answer together. ¿Qué día es mañana? Mañana es el martes o el jueves o no sé. ¿Cuál es la fecha de hoy? Hoy es el 5 de noviembre del 2018. Of course, you fill in whatever date it actually is. ¿En qué mes estamos? Estamos en el mes de agosto, or whatever month it actually is for you. ¿Qué tiempo hace hoy? Hoy hace mal tiempo. Hoy llueve. Hoy está lloviendo. ¿Qué objetos hay en tu casa? So you would answer it by saying, en mi casa hay muchos objetos. Hay una mesa, hay una ventana, hay puertas, hay lápices y bolígrafos, hay tabletas y computadoras y hay muchos objetos en mi casa. ¿Qué hora es? No sé. Son las and then whatever time it happens to be for you. ¿Cuántas semanas hay en un mini semestre? Mini. Hay 8 semanas en un mini semestre. ¿Cuál es tu libro favorito? This word, ¿cuál? We've seen qué, en, cuántas, cómo, dónde. What is cuál? Cuál is which, right? So, in Spanish, when we have a verb next, we use cuál instead of qué. So, ¿cuál es tu libro favorito? Mi libro favorito es Mosaicos. ¿Cómo se llama tu compañero de la clase de español? Mi compañero de la clase de español se llama Juan o se llama María. ¿Eres una persona optimista o pesimista? Yo soy una persona muy optimista. ¿Y tú? ¿Eres estudiante o profesor? Yo soy profesora y tú eres estudiante. ¿Cómo se dice questions en español? En español se dice preguntas en español. ¿Hay preguntas? ¿Tienes preguntas? Escríbeme un email. Gracias por mirar y hasta luego.